Ryan, you talked about the number 2 tailback possibly emerging. A couple weeks ago, you said you didn't really have one. Do you feel like you have a true number 2, or is that still kind of in flux?
Still in flux. I thought that Master ran hard, but Master hasn't practiced the whole bunch, so we only really have what we can go off of from the game film, what we did this week in practice. DeMario, I thought did some good things in special teams, but still working. So I think if we can keep building that room up, build some depth, then I think both those guys will play.
Right next door, Nathan.
You mentioned the offensive line cohesion. Was there something you guys found out about Jonah Jackson in the process of bringing him here that you thought would help him kind of speed up that process, or that wouldn't be an issue?
Well, Jonah's been in a couple different offenses, and actually in an offense that was used the same terminology as this one here when he was at Rutgers, and so that helped in the transition because he was able to kind of quickly assimilate and figure out how we were calling things. But then, more importantly, his approach. He's a man's man. This is a guy who has a lot of respect from the guys. Stepped in. And it's not easy to walk into Ohio State now. I mean, it's not. These guys are close, and so far he's done a really good job and played good last week. So we'll keep building from there.
Far left, Lori.
Coach, we asked you about adjustments last week. How much harder is it to make in-game adjustments at this time of year when you only have one game to reference? Like, okay, guys, this is what we did against so-and-so.
I think when you have a veteran group, it's a little bit easier. When you have a rookie quarterback, when you have some guys who don't have as much experience, a little harder. New scheme, a little harder. Every game it gets a little bit easier, just in terms of being able to fall back on experiences and different plays or different adjustments that things or the teams have done to us, where we can handle that. And even through practice, every time you go through a week of practice, you're getting a couple hundred reps under your belt, and a meeting time where you can go through those things and talk about them ahead of time, so that if something like that did pop up in a game, we could get together on the sideline and say, all right, here's how we need to handle that.
How many times do you need to have repped something for you to feel comfortable?
It depends on what it is. If it's a route, a route combination, probably somewhere between 20, 30, 40. If it's a run game, even more than that. So it takes time, because if you're going to get a certain look, then that's one thing, but that's not how it works. This team right here changes the look every snap, and so it takes time. And not only do you have to be able to recognize what to do, it's how to do it, and so that takes a lot of reps.
Ryan, how much did not having CJ impact your plans or at H-back wide receiver last week?
It affected us because CJ was the backup H going into the preseason, and so his absence was felt a little bit in special teams as well. But we got some good depth there, and so we'll be okay moving forward.
Is there something that has kept Jalen Gill from becoming more of a factor, or where is he in that mix right now?
He's kind of in the mix. He's right there. He's providing some depth for us, and the more he plays, the more experience he gets, the better it'll be for him.
Ryan, obviously Cincinnati played on Thursday last week, so they had a couple extra days to prepare and to recover. Does that factor into your preparation at all, knowing they might have a couple extra days to put different things in?
No, not really, because they played on a Thursday night. We played at noon on Saturday, so it actually really wasn't that much. They do have a little bit of time to catch their breath, but in this situation, I don't think it matters all that much.
Front row right, Bill.
You said that you were happier with the offensive line play after you watched the film than you were coming off the field Saturday. What's the next step in their development? What do you want to see on Saturday from them?
A little bit cleaner just in their fits. When you have a big, strong line like that, they have a tendency to move around. These guys will be moving around every snap. We know that on Saturday, and these guys did this past week. And so we got to be able to handle that movement. And I think, if we fit those runs a little better, that'll be the next step.
Right next door, Tim.
Yeah, Ryan, Josh Proctor, we heard all about him in the preseason camp. He was making 2 interceptions this day, 1 that day, et cetera. He makes the big pick on Saturday. Where does he fit in the plans now, moving forward?
Well, I think he's really stepped up, and I think he and Isaiah are both right there, to help when Jordan needs help. But again, as these guys progress, and we feel like they're at starter level, then we'll start to roll them. And I think that's the progression. Do you get yourself to that starter level? And if you are, then we'll start to roll you, which is what we did at tackle and some of the other positions the other day. So he's inching closer. And, whenever you show up in a game like that and make a big play, then that really helps your case.
Hey, real quick, has anybody popped up this week on the injury list, et cetera, you're going to be without that you know of?
Nothing right now.
Front row left, Doug.
Totally off topic. What do you think of what Joe Burrow's been able to do at LSU from the guy you knew here?
I could talk about him for an hour. What a special young man, and that was a very tough thing for him and for his family and for all of us. And I couldn't be prouder of what he's done down there. Not just playing, but going into a situation, a big time SEC school in a tough environment, and being the leader. And I talked to Coach Ogeron, during the NFL draft, and he said he literally took over that team and he turned that whole program around. They were going in one direction. He told me that, and then all of a sudden Joe Burrow showed up and it changed. And so I think that's a tribute to who that kid is. And then to see him play the way he did last week and really produce at a high level, really cool. But besides all that, I think just the way he's handled it has been awesome.
Right behind him, Ari.
Hey, Ryan, you guys got a lot of tackles in the game on Saturday. I was wondering at left how Thayer's coming along. I know Josh played a lot, but do you anticipate that being a season-long thing? Was it just an early season thing? And just a little bit about just Thayer's health and how he's doing.
No, Thayer's been doing well. I thought he's had a really good preseason. And, we're going to continue to roll those guys because I think as time goes on, he'll be able to carry more and more. But Josh has also, shown that he can play, and he's an older guy who deserves to play, and so he will. Now, he didn't have some snaps that I know he wants back, Josh, in the game, and so that matters. Those guys, when they get in there, they have to play at a certain level. But overall, Thayer's doing great. I thought he, graded out well. He graded out a champion, and so we'll continually roll those guys. But when they do get in there, they have to play at a championship level.
Spring, I know that depth at offensive line seemed to be or was probably a huge concern for you guys. I think you only had 11 guys. Being in this position now where you're rotating guys on both ends, and is this offensive line deeper than you thought it could be at this point?
Yeah, and I thought that was a tribute to Stud and what we've done on offense, and Kevin's been involved, and everybody, and just in making sure that we have everything we need. And, that Jonah was a big part of that, bringing Jonah in here, and then getting a few guys down the stretch was critical. Getting Brandon Bowen back healthy, our staff with Sean Barnhouse and Adam Stewart and everybody doing a great job. Our medical staff getting him back with that leg, they handled that the right way. Handling Thayer the right way, that all comes into play here, and so it's been really important to get depth. A guy like Gavin Cupp has been huge for our program. What he's done, he's providing depth for us, and he's been there. He's been strong. He's been practicing when other guys weren't there. Those kind of guys are critical for us. So I think our right now we are deep, and but we have to continue to play those guys when they get in the game. They have to play at a championship level, and so we'll keep building as we go.
Final questions, far right, Spencer.
Ryan, back in the spring, you called out the 2018 class and kind of said if you guys were going to take another step forward, those guys were going to have to play a big part. What have you seen from that group of guys so far through the spring and the fall that have made?
Yeah, I think they've been solid, but I think to your point, they have to start becoming veteran. I think that some of them have, but these are the types of games where now they have to establish themselves as big time contributors. They're not freshmen anymore. I think it's been good, but I think that story's yet to be written. Just one game under our belt. There's been some improvement there, but we got to take a big step in that class right there. Those guys got to be able to step up and become really the future of the program. But that happens every year at this time. All the guys who are freshmen, the year before, now it's time to grow up and become part of the future. And so we got good guys in that group. I think they understand that. But then again, that story's yet to be written.